What we know is that working with hostile or avoidant families causes a really high level of stress amongst a lot of workers, a lot of anxiety about how to approach these families and how to meet the needs of the children. And what we also know from serious case reviews, from research, is that a lot of situations occur when people are not able to see children, which place them at a great level of risk. We also know that a fear of families and a reluctance to challenge can mean that in some cases children go unprotected and are at serious risk of harm. It's important to look at the reasons behind people's behaviour, parents' behaviour. It's important to look at the reasons why people may not engage with services. Sometimes this may be to do with their previous experience of services, their own issues such as mental health problems, or drug or alcohol abuse. We look at the reasons for this behaviour, not so that we can accept it, but so that we can begin to start working with parents and we can begin to make effective plans and approaches. There are particular skills that we can learn and we can develop to help us to work with families and to challenge them in a constructive and authoritative way. I base a lot of my work on issues around the skills of assertiveness. I find it is really helpful for workers to develop a repertoire of things to say, words, phrases, attitudes, which mean that we can challenge parents in a helpful, authoritative way, but not lose sight of the needs of the child. We need to be clear when parents' behaviour is getting in the way of a clear assessment of the child's needs, either because they're confrontational or because they're avoiding our work. And we also need to be clear about the impact of any hostile or aggressive behaviour, not only on the workers but on the child themselves. I think it's also important to consider the emotional impact of this work. Our decision making a lot of the time is also, as well as based on what we think, a lot of it's based on what we feel. We need to trust our intuition, we need to listen to our feelings. If we are feeling frightened or feeling anxious, that will affect how we think and how we plan and how we work with families. So what we need to do is try to find situations in our workplace where we can be able to talk about our fears, how we're working with this family, and how that reflects on the interagency network. And there are certainly situations where it is not safe for workers to be working with families. We need to be clear about staff safety. We need to be clear about when it isn't safe for workers to be with families, but then relate that to risk to the children.